Hey everyone, and welcome back to another Explainer. Today, we're going to completely shatter a really common myth, this idea that wealth is simply a matter of being incredibly intelligent or, just getting lucky. The truth is much deeper than that, and honestly, it's much more fascinating. Think of today as a complete financial operating system audit. We're going to pop the hood of your mind, look inside, and find and rewrite those broke mindsets and subconscious bugs that are probably holding you back from real wealth.
Okay, let's dive into this. Take entrepreneur Leila Hormozi, for example. Her dramatic transformation is basically the foundation of our explainer today. She went from being literally broke, 100 pounds overweight, and arrested 6 times to building a portfolio of companies worth hundreds of millions of dollars. I mean, that's wild, right? But she insists it wasn't because she was particularly special or had some secret unfair advantage. It was entirely because she stopped letting her broke mindset run her life. Her journey proves that real wealth, it doesn't actually start in your bank account. It begins by breaking free from your hidden, subconscious limiting beliefs.
So to do that, here's our roadmap for today. We're diagnosing 5 hidden bugs. First, subconscious money scripts. Second, your wealth thermostat. Third, assets versus liabilities. Fourth, scarcity and loss aversion. And finally, the ultimate time trap. Let's patch these bugs.
All right, kicking things off with Section 1, the subconscious money scripts.
And this brilliantly illustrates what financial psychologists have been saying for years. The science is incredibly clear here. Almost every financial decision you make, like what job you take, how much you charge, even that pit of guilt you feel when spending money, it's all controlled by a subconscious script. And the crazy part, you didn't even write it. These scripts are formed in childhood, way before you're even conscious enough to truly understand what money actually is. Now, there are 4 primary scripts that predict our behavior. First up, the money avoider. These folks subconsciously feel money is bad, or maybe that they just don't deserve it, so they end up self-sabotaging. Second, the money worshiper. They think more money will just magically fix all their problems, so they obsessively chase it, but never, ever feel like they have enough. Third is the money status script. These people literally tie their entire self-worth to their net worth. They're the ones overspending just to keep up appearances, always comparing their yard to the neighbors. And finally, the money vigilant. These are your chronic savers. They live well below their means, sure, but they are crippled by this constant low-level anxiety about their financial future.
So really think about it. Looking at those 4, which script is running your life right now? It's absolutely crucial to self-identify here, because even incredibly successful people battle these things. Take Leila Hormozi again. Despite having a net worth of $100 million at one point, her money-vigilant script was still completely running the show. She rented a home for 3 years because she was just too anxious to buy, and whenever she felt even a slight dip in profit, she'd instinctively slash her company's budgets across the board. She was acting out of deep-seated anxiety, not actual financial reality. Recognizing your script is the very first step to deleting it.
Moving right along, that takes us to our second diagnostic check, your wealth thermostat, your internal ceiling. This is all about the wealth ceiling. You see, the amount of money you have is strictly capped by how you subconsciously see yourself. Think of your self-concept exactly like the thermostat on your living room wall. It sets a financial comfort zone. If your internal thermostat is set to earn, say, $100,000, you will unconsciously strive to maintain that exact level. If you suddenly make $150,000, well, you'll likely find a way to blow that extra 50 grand. Leila shared this fascinating story about getting stuck at $85,000 early on in her career. Because she still identified as someone who was scrappy and just getting by, the second she started making more money, she would unconsciously waste it on expensive fitness competition fees. She was literally regulating her internal temperature to match her own self-image. So, how do we actually reset the thermostat? You have to physically rewrite the code. Seriously, take out a piece of paper. On one side, write down your current, honest identity. Maybe it's, I'm the kind of person who struggles with money, or I always overspend. Get it on paper. Then, draw a line. On the other side, write your new truth. I'm the kind of person who builds and manages wealth with ease. Now, you don't have to fully believe it just yet, but you need to read it every single time you make a financial decision, because as your self-image expands, your income is inevitably going to follow to match it. Let's move to and see how this builds into Section 3, assets versus liabilities. The actual mechanics of wealth.
So, shifting gears from deep psychology into the practical mechanics, we're looking at Robert Kiyosaki's legendary framework from Rich Dad Poor Dad. The bedrock of wealth generation is incredibly simple. An asset puts money in your pocket. A liability takes money out of your pocket. It sounds almost too simple, right? Yet the middle class chronically stays broke because they buy liabilities constantly, falsely believing they're acquiring assets. We've all been programmed by society to consume things rather than to actually build things.
Let's do a rapid-fire audit here. A car? Liability. It depreciates the second you drive it off the lot and costs you in gas and maintenance. A designer handbag? Obviously a liability. But here's the really controversial one. Your primary house. That is a liability. It has a mortgage, property taxes, insurance, repairs. It constantly takes money out of your pocket without generating any income. Now, let's look at assets. A skill course? Asset. It increases your future earning potential. A rental property? Asset. That brings in actual monthly income. Business equipment that actively generates revenue? Asset. So here's my challenge for you. I want you to audit your last 10 purchases using this exact filter. Are you buying things that will eventually pay you or things that will continually bleed you?
All right, moving to section 4, scarcity mindset and loss aversion. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that this is arguably the absolute hardest limiting belief to break. Why? Because it's literally baked into our biology. Operating from a scarcity mindset doesn't just make you feel anxious. Research shows it literally shrinks your cognitive bandwidth. It makes you worse at planning for the long term, and quite frankly, it makes you dumber in your financial decision-making. The scarcity mindset is basically that ancient, prehistoric hoarding berries reflex. It tells you, there's never enough, if my neighbor gets berries, my family starves. It sees the world as a finite resource. An abundance mindset, on the other hand, realizes the modern economic pie is basically infinite. It says, I can afford to invest to create more. Leila Hormozi demonstrated this perfectly. Back when her business was only making $50,000 a month, she went out and hired a business coach for $40,000 a month. Her scarcity brain was screaming that she'd go broke, but her abundance brain? It knew the investment in her skills would compound. And that single decision helped scale her company to tens of millions of dollars. A major part of that scarcity instinct is loss aversion. Nobel laureate Daniel Kahneman found a staggering metric on this. The psychological pain of losing money is twice as powerful as the pleasure of gaining it. Let that sink in. Losing $100 feels twice as bad as finding $100 feels good. This biological glitch traps millions of people. It's exactly why we stay in dead-end jobs, hold on to losing investments, and refuse to take calculated risks. To fix this bug, you have to mentally reframe every financial loss. It's not a failure, it's simply tuition paid to learn a valuable lesson.
Which brings us to our final stop, Section 5, the ultimate time trap. Stop selling your time.
This right here is the crucial paradigm shift that separates the ultra-wealthy from everyone else. The ultimate trap is dedicating your entire life to trying to save money at the direct expense of making money. Because think about it, money multiplies, time does not. The middle class operates entirely by selling their time. They trade their precious hours for dollars, doing every menial task themselves just to save a buck. The wealthy, however, they buy time. They hire assistants, meal prep services, housekeepers, and no, it's not because they're lazy. It's because they are fiercely protecting their time so they can focus on high-leverage, $1,000-an-hour tasks.
So, the crucial point is how you implement this math in your own life today. Step 1, find your annual income. Step 2, divide that number by 2,000, which is roughly the standard number of working hours in a year. That number you get, that is your personal hourly rate. Step 3, audit your time against it. Let's say your calculated rate is $100 an hour, and you spend 2 hours cleaning your house to save the $50 it would have cost to hire someone. You didn't save $50, you spent 2 hours, which is $200 of your time, to save $50. You actually lost $150 in potential value. You literally have to stop doing $10 an hour tasks if you want a $100 an hour life.
Wow. Okay, we've covered a ton of ground in this psychological audit today, from your childhood money scripts and that hidden wealth thermostat, all the way to the actual math of buying back your time. So I want to leave you with this final vital question. Which single shift are you going to make today to rewrite your financial operating system? Don't try to change everything all at once. Just pick one of these mental bugs we diagnosed today, patch it, and practice it this week. Because mastering your wealth, it starts entirely with mastering your mind. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.